Welcome back friends to another episode of Lynch Paints, where today I'll be showing you all how to paint the Mantis Warriors for your Space Marine chapters. So let's grab our paint and paintbrushes and let's dive straight into it. But of course, before we get started, we're going to need a selection of paints, and these are all the ones I've used in this video today, alongside which we're going to need a big fluffy brush, a big sort of main detail brush, a smaller detail brush, and of course a teeny weeny teeny tiny brush for all of those teeny tiny places. So the first step is to apply a black acrylic primer all over the model. And then what we're going to do is we are going to grab some of this Lauren Forest, so it's like a kind of Cadian green sort of colour, and then I'm just going to grab this big old dry brush, and then what we're going to do is that we're just going to dry brush all over the model just to get the basic kind of green tone on the armour as quickly as we can. If you have an airbrush, then you can go ahead and apply a similar sort of colour all over the model, but if you don't, like myself, then we will do it this way instead. Next step, we're just going to go back over the armour, but this time with a medium-sized brush, and we'll thin it down with a little bit of water, because of course there's going to be some areas that we would have inevitably missed with the dry brushing. And also this will help just to smooth out the areas with the dry brush, and we can also then start to blend our way up to a lighter shade of green. So after a coat, or maybe a second one, it should turn out a little something like this. So obviously straight away it's not as green as it should be, so this is when we're going to bring in our moot green. It's a very nice vibrant green, and I'm going to introduce a little bit of this at a time, and then you can either wet blend or you can start to, much the same as the first step, you can start to dry brush at the top and just kind of build up the layers that way. The dry brushing does make an interesting sort of texture effect, so it sort of depends on what you kind of desire out of it. If you want a nice smooth look to it, then the wet blending is for you, but if you want a more kind of rough and sort of battle worn and ready look, then try the dry brushing. After building up the colours to a nice kind of brighter green, using either wet blending or of course dry brushing, I'm going to take a little thin brush, and then we're just going to do a little bit of highlighting. And with this you don't have to highlight the entirety of the model if you don't want to, but I'm just going to pick out just a couple of areas just to kind of get the point across that it's catching the light. So that's the green armour done for now. I will come back to the shoulder pad trims in a bit, but for now we're going to do the yellows. So I'm going to grab some of this brown, so there's Mornfang brown, and some yellow, which is represented by this Flash Gits yellow. And mix the two up, and probably a bit of a 50-50-ish mix. Thin it with some water, and then we're going to start to do the shoulder pad. So we're going to build it up from this kind of brown colour up to a more vibrant yellow. And it will be streaky at first, but then as we build up our layers, it will smooth it out in time, so don't worry too much just yet. While we're waiting for the shoulder pads and the little kneecap to dry, it's going to do some of the leather works. So I've grabbed some black, mixed in a little bit into the brown, and then we're just going to cover the leather straps and the belt. So after quite some time, I do believe that the yellow is done for now. It's not the smoothest, but because I've dry brushed the model earlier, it's provided a bit more of a rougher look, and I quite like it. You can go as light of a yellow as you like. It's entirely up to you. You could have always had painted the yellow areas white first and then gone back over in a yellow. But I quite like this at the fade from the brown up to the brighter yellow, because then that way you don't need to wash it afterwards in a brown wash. So I've kept the backpack in a black just because I think it stands out quite nicely from the model. So we're just going to highlight it and wet blend a little bit, just using some of this Incubi Darkness and Abaddon Black. So moving on to some of the other areas, I'm going to look at his bolter. So I've grabbed some of this Storm Vermin fur and Abaddon Black, made a nice dark grey, and I'm just going to go over the main body of the bolter, and then afterwards we're going to go over the model and do all of the metal works using some Iron Warriors, so silver, any kind of like sort of dark silver, bolt gun metal type of colour will do the trick really nicely. So using some of this Runefang steel, so a very, very light silver, it's going to do a couple of highlights just on the metal areas. And you can do so if you wish, it's entirely up to you. One of the final things we're going to do is his eyes. So I've mixed in some Abaddon Black and some of this lovely Mephiston Red. So we've made a good 50-50 mix. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to cover the first 2/3 of the eye lens. I'm going to leave the very back of it black. Now I have gone into there with a bit of yellow from before, so I'm just going to grab some of this black and just fix that there. Cool. And then we're going to use pure Mephiston Red, and then we're just going to do this at the front quarter of the lens. And then finally, rinse that off. I'm going to take a little bit of white. Then, of course, you're going to be using a fine detail brush for this. It's going to take a little bit of this. And then we're just going to drop teeny tiny white dot at the back of the lens. And this will help to sell the effects of a reflective surface. So now is the bit you've all been waiting for. So we're going to freehand the logo onto the shoulder pad. So for this, you're going to need a very, very fine detail brush. I'm going to start out with the black, and then we'll add in the red for the eyes later on. And so here we are at the end of the video. So this has been a fantastic chapter to paint. This has been suggested by the Lynch Paints community, just as a bit of a voting poll that I put up onto my YouTube channel. And this is the one that was voted for the next video. So it's been fantastic. I'm going to do another poll in a couple of weeks' time. So with it being October, I've got a couple of other bits planned that are going to be a little bit more sort of spooky themed and that sort of thing, so it should be really nice. So hopefully that you stick around to check them out at a later date. But I will put one up towards sort of maybe start of November for the next chapter to be chosen, or if you have any other suggestions, other models for me to paint that you like to see on the channel, do let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, show your appreciation with a like, and if you're new, a subscribe will be massively appreciated as always. If you wanted to check out stills and reels of this miniature, then check out my Instagram page at Lynch Paints. Link to that is also in the description down below. And if you're feeling particularly generous, I do have a super thanks button and also a coffee page. If you want to consider them, that would be hugely appreciated. And if you wanted to pick up any Space Marines for yourselves, then do head over to Wheelang Games. I have an affiliate link again in the description down below, so any support, whether it be from my affiliate links or from the coffee page or from the super thanks, all of that will go towards future projects to then be shown on the channel for everyone at home, on the bus, on the train, wherever you like to watch my videos to enjoy. So I hope that you have all enjoyed this video wherever you are in the world, and remember folks, stay safe, stay beautiful, and we'll see you all next time.